Alright, back to myself again. So I need to move on to the main shaft parts here. So I got my thrust washers lined up here. This one here is adjustable, the second gear, and the main shaft one's adjustable also. The problem with these is they don't fit on the end of the shaft very well. I got some burrs and stuff on these, so I'm going to go back and hand dress these a little bit. These are the two that we're working with that used. This here needs to be cleaned up just slightly here while we're at it. And I pulled out my gaskets, and those need to be rehydrated. Right now they're shrunk a little bit, so if you line up the holes right here, you can see we're off over here by about 1/4 inch. So these are nice old gaskets. They're relatively flexible. New gaskets, if you bend them after 5 or 10 years old, they just split in half and break. So I like these old ones, but they do have to be rehydrated to use them. And there's the interruptions again today. Alright, we'll be back a couple minutes. Alright, we're back. A long phone call. Okay, so we're going to soak these in water. I'm going to cut these, deburr them so they fit on my shaft here. Well, I got to do this piece here too. Alright, going back, bring my tripod. Gonna make a stop over here at the toilet. Everybody likes when I dump my gaskets in the toilet. Let's see, keep that out there. Okay, normally I just throw it down there, but nobody liked it, so we'll throw them over here instead. So it's called rehydrating the gaskets. Might be a little soap and scum down there too, but that's okay. See, it's clean over there. I could have used that. It'd been clean. Oh well. Nobody likes it when I use that clean water. Alright, we'll let that settle. Let's see here. There's my office over there. Yeah, nice office. Full of crap. Yep. Okay, washers. There's Alan's bike. All cleaned up. Waiting for a tranny. Okay, so we got to deburr and grind this here. So I'm going to deburr these by hand. It's cold back here. Use a little deburring tool. So he's going to chamfer this edge right here a little bit. Hopefully it'll fit, we'll find out. Okay, now this we're going to grind our surface grinder. So this here we just want to knock off the edges here a little bit, smooth it on both sides. flatten that out. And clean this surface up here a little bit. So we're good to go. Okay. So I gotta go clean these off. Then we get rid of all that grinding grit. And I'm gonna pick up the gaskets and we'll come back and see what they look like. Alright, here's our gasket, rehydrated. So you can see how you line up there, and now the holes line up over there. See? So you grew a 1/4 inch, see? That's all it takes. And I got these washers ground so they only fit on the main shaft. Especially that one that didn't want to go in there at all. So now we go ahead and continue excuse me, getting this all set up here. Alright, get over here a little bit. Let's see where we're going to put that. Up there's a good spot. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff mocked up a little bit here. Okay, that piece goes on there like that. That sits right up against the back side of the trap door here, right here, like that. Oop. So that's how that goes. A little bit lower. Okay, now these washers here now fit up on here like they're supposed to. Okay. Okay, I put the more worn side against the main shaft. I mean against the shoulder right there. I think it's growing up too far. Alright, so that fits up against that part. And you got low gear. You want to put a little bit of grease right where the washer goes. It will help retain the washer. Make sure it stays put where it belongs. Goes like that. Second gear washer goes in here. Thinner. This is the thinner of the two. Another interruption. Hello. Surveys, I don't like them. Alright, we got washer here. Goes in here. So that goes in between those two. Then you got these two washers here. They go in here. So I got to figure out what the thinnest one is. Okay, that's 98. This one's 114. So this one's a thick one. So I'm going to put the thin one on here. Put a little grease right there to help keep it against that edge. Now these all have a little bit of wear on the one side. Right here. It's smooth on this side. So the smooth one goes against the brass bushing the gear, and this finish like this here with a little lip on it goes up against the main shaft, because the main shaft is the way it's cut in there. It sits in there like that flat. So that's how that goes in there. So that allows us to put it together so we can see what it is. Another damn call. Hello. We get some points. Damn, I'm special. I get free calls. They probably thought I wanted to go on vacation. That was the whole problem. Okay, so initially we just put this thing in here like this. and see how much second gear in play we have. So we have tons of it. Push it all the way in and see if the problem goes away. See, that clearance went away now. You have to actually push the gear in. Okay, it's going to be hard to show, but so basically we have the seal in here which has a spring on it. So we're fighting the spring right now. See the spring here, you have to push it in. See that spring right there? So you push all the way in and you want to have clearance between your second gear and high gear when your main shaft washer's in there. But right now we don't know what our clearance is on the main shaft because we're hitting on the second gear. So what you should do is do each thing independently and not do it as a unit like I have it right now. So if you want to check them independently the correct way, you go ahead and pull out the gear. Take the two gears out of there. You only have to take out the one, but it's easier to look at it this way. Put that back in it and put it back inside the case. Now we can actually check just the in-play. Because now the only in-play is going to be the main shaft in-play. Otherwise you go back and forth between second gear and high gear hitting, you don't know which one's which. And it gets confusing. So it's easier just to separate the parts and get it done that way. Okay, so now we're going to take this and put it on here, but we're going to have to put the gasket on here, which is sitting over here. Problem with this is I have no way of holding it because the parts to hold it aren't on here either. We don't have the studs in the case right now, so we're going to have to use our bolts right here. And our two studs down here. Make sure you put these in there without tearing the gasket through down here. So you hold it with a finger as you screw it in there. There it goes. Otherwise you tear the gasket and you have to get another one. Okay, so now you just put these pieces in here. Start a little bit. Go and get the screw in here, start a little bit. I'm going to put all the screws in, so I want to keep the gasket centered. We don't want to tear the gasket up because it's going to be on and off a few times here. I'm going to put one nut on this one down here, just to make sure it's pulled in flat all the way across. You don't have to do both, you need at least one though. Now this one here is tight, these two are tight, that one, and this one are tight. So that puts the whole cover down pretty even. We should be able to check our in-play. Now I don't have any bearings over here yet, which would help get some bearings in there. So go ahead and poke a couple bearings in here just to kind of center it up a little bit. have to have all of them in there, but it helps to have a couple of them in there anyway. Okay, now I can go ahead and see where in play is. It's actually pretty good. So here's our in play right now, see? You can hear it? Not very much. I don't know if you can see how far I'm moving it in, but it's not moving much. It's pretty good. So by the feel test, I like it. We're good. And if you actually want to know what the number is, you have to have your little tool and a feeler gauge. So your feeler gauge. Here's a tool. So this does main shaft on the motor and transmission. Excuse me. This same tool for both things. So it's set up for cranks. Put the feeler part over here, and you do it. Now you're on main shaft. Excuse me. There, so you tighten it up on there. Hit the top of the bearing race. You push it all the way in with my extra finger. And you let it pop out. And you put your feeler gauge in there, it tells you what you got. So I think we're probably going to be down there about 5 or 6, I bet. That's what it feels like. And we don't even have 5 in there. We don't have 4 either. Well, it's tighter than I want it to be then. So recheck that. I'll blow it up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing down here. So I'm pushing in, just goes on the edge of the bearing race right there. So your in place right there, so you push it all the way in. Push the finger in with the other finger, and you tighten the set screw up. Then when it pops out, you put your feeler gauge in there and you get a number. So where are we at? Here's 5. See, the 5 is not going in there. Four goes in. See, that goes in there. So we get somewhere between 4 and 5 thousandths. Yeah, that's a little bit tighter than I thought it was. I knew it was close. Now most of this stuff I like 8 to 12. That's a good number to use for everything. So right now we are a little bit close. Now we have all new parts in here inside of this thing. So these parts are going to wear, so we're going to gain a little bit of clearance. But this gasket isn't torqued all the way yet either, so we're going to lose a little bit of clearance. So we probably need to gain about another 5 thou more clearance to be on the safe side. So, because I'd rather have it a little bit loose than tight. So, let's go ahead and see if I can come up with a washer that we can get that with. If not, we're going to have to live with it, but I don't like it that tight. Okay, now next thing is I got to put the second gear, low gears in here, and I got to measure between the second gear bracket right here with a feeler gauge and the face of the gear. It should be right here. And that will give us an in play for these pair of parts here, because this clearance here is separate from the other clearance. And you have to have just 2 different ones. Now if this has too much in play here, then the shift dog clearance in here will be wrong. It'll be able to float back and forth and could cause some issues. But you want to have a little bit of clearance on this, but not a lot. Same thing, that 8 to 12 works really good. Okay, so, and right now notice how this spins nice and free, which is good. This side over here is good. So everything seems to be working pretty nicely, so that's good. And we already know the counter shaft assembly worked good too, so everything's looking nice. Just our clearances are a little bit too tight, so I need to loosen it up a little bit. Now when you check it separate like this, it actually goes quicker, because I can see directly what my clearance is right now in this main shaft. On the other one, I'm not sure because it was locked up because this was thicker than we had room for. So it actually made the main shaft lock up. So I would have to take some main shaft clearance out over here, put it back together, and it would still be tight. And oh shit, it's not that, it's second gear, I gotta take some out of that. Then you think you got okay on the main shaft's loose because you're not even close. So you start adding to that, and you keep adding, and nothing's happening, all of a sudden it locks up. So it's better just to separate it, and you can find all your clearances independently, and it just goes quicker. I put an extension on here so I can work it easy like this. Otherwise I'm over here banging my fingers all the time. Okay. There's the bearings. Now I can gain in play by shortening up that spacer we already ground on. That's another way of gaining a few thou clearance. And using the same washers I already got. So if you give it one little tap, pops the cover off. So if I didn't pop it on the back side here. There you go. The idler shaft holds what was holding it, looked like. Yes, I didn't hurt the gasket any, so it's still safe. So I can reuse it. Now, so if I take this right here, and shorten this up here a little bit, a few thou, I can gain what I need for my clearance without screwing around with the washer. So right now I had about 4 thou. I'd like to gain at least 3. I can live with 5. It wouldn't hurt to gain 3. So I can go take this in back and grind this real quick and gain that number I want, which is probably the easiest thing to do. Because when you put another washer in there, it's not going to be a used washer, it'll be a new washer, it'll have to wear in differently. I'm not sure how quick I can change out the washers. So I know I can take this part and just grind it and boom, we're there. So what we do is we take this and measure it. So we're about 463 right now. So if I drop this down to 459 to 460, I'd have my little extra clearance I'd like to have. And quick and simple. So I'm going to go do that real quick. We're going to do it on the surface grinder back, so it won't take too long. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back. So I took this down to 59 here. So that should give me about 3.5 to 4 thou. We had 4, 4.5. So it should be about 8 to 9, somewhere in that area. So that should put me right where I want to be. Go. I'm not going to double check. I'm not going to check that. I'm going to go ahead and get one on this side. So this one was too thick initially. So let's find out what we got. 61, 62 thou. This one was 75. That's, I wonder it's so big. Okay, so this was measuring too big, unless I did something wrong. So this is 60. Let's see what the smallest one we got is. I got a whole bunch of them over here to choose from. So Harley makes a kit that gives you all of them, and then we individually packed them all years ago, or at least I did. So 50 is our lowest one, it looks like. Then we got 55, 60, 65, 70. Alright, so it looks to be about how they go. These are still in packages. What we got over here? This is 45 thousandths. That's our lowest one. Oh, there's 40. So I think 40 is the smallest one. And we got a 55. $45, $45. I'm getting around 50. Bother me some more on the phone. That's probably a 50 there. All right, it gives me a couple to choose from. Damn. Hello. They butt dialed me, I think. Find out. A lot of phone calls tonight. It's like yesterday. Okay, which one's this one? Okay, this one's 50. This is what, 63? Okay. So we know we're tight. We know we like having about 10. So I'm going to drop these down. I'm going to throw this 45 thou in there. See if that gets me close. And answer the phone again. Hello? Yes?